The hypnotic reach forward, the powerful pull back. The ancient rhythm of dragging boat racing can be absolutely spellbinding. It's also a sport of strength and stamina, characteristics these women know a thing or two about. The entire Paddles with a Purpose team are breast cancer survivors, or rather, thrivers, as Nora Levesque prefers to be called. She's pulled through 2 bouts of breast cancer. Her first diagnosis came after missing at least 1 mammogram. Kids, a career, just life, she says, got in the way.
My general practitioner, probably in 2010 or so, said, Nora, when was the last time you had a mammogram? I'm like, I don't know. I came back the next year and he's like, so Nora, have you had your mammogram? I'm like, no. He's like, you really need to schedule one.
Luckily, her cancer was slow growing, but it still required a mastectomy and chemotherapy.
My treatment's done. This course is run, and I am on my way.
Even in normal times, Nora was hardly alone in missing a mammogram, but it's a problem that's been worsened by the pandemic. Breast cancer screenings plunged during the COVID-19 pandemic, in the early days by nearly 90%. That was somewhat expected as women hunkered down like everyone else. But what has doctors worried now is that 2 years later, breast cancer testing still hasn't returned to pre-pandemic levels. A new study in the Journal of Clinical Oncology found that breast cancer diagnoses are 11% below 2019 figures.
Cancer's not happening at a lower rate. People are having their cancer go undiagnosed. And we know that that's because people aren't screening like they normally would.
Mammograms are key to catching breast cancer early, often long before a lump can be felt. An early stage diagnosis, says Dr. Deborah Patt, can mean the difference between chemotherapy or no chemotherapy, having a breast removed or just extracting the tumor, and even between living or dying.
Those models estimated if we only decrease screening during the first 6 months of the pandemic, that in 10 years there'd be about a 12% increase in cancer mortality. So what we see now is that there's been 3 years of decreased screenings.
And Asian American women could be disproportionately impacted because research has shown they had the largest drop in breast cancer screenings during peak COVID and the smallest rebound since.
All the way ahead. Go!
It's a disheartening prospect for Nora Levesque.
It really does not take long, so just go ahead and get that mammogram.
A message to all women to find the time to prioritize their health. Tony Waterman, CGTN, Austin, Texas.